Hi, so it's February, and I had a plan to present this February forecast already in the beginning of February, when there was a new moon at 12 of Aquarius. But as you probably know, Mercury was still retrograde, and it was retrograding in square of my natal sun. So it was impossible for me to do any kind of creative work. But today we are 7th of February, so it's still not too late to look into what's going to come in the rest of the month. So maybe just a short look back into January. As you might remember, if you have seen my January forecast, I have pointed out mid-January as the time when there would be more disruption in the world, when there would be many events, planetary events that would come together to create some very stressful vibrations, which certainly happened, notably in the form of Tonga eruption, volcano eruption. And there was, I noted down the times, days between the 12th or 13th January, when Saturn came to Saturn of one of the previous solar eclipses. And I told you that this would be time when we would experience the disciplining of the society from politicians or other people of who have powerful people or institutions. And it happened in Australia when Djokovic was denied entrance to Melbourne to the tennis tournament, Australian Open. And then, of course, protests followed around the world in mid-January related to COVID restrictions and so on. So, and then we had the end of the month, also unusual accidents. We had an out-of-bound Mars, which had just came inbounds again, luckily. But as noted, and as I wrote in an article, NCGR Research Journal, the latest journal, there was a long article on out-of-bound Mars published, authored by me, where I presented an in-depth research of Mars declination, focusing on its out-of-bound phases. So unusual accidents, mass shootings and things like that, these all come under the heading of an out-of-bound Mars, especially when this planet of war and aggression touches the 23,5 degrees of declination, northern or southern, of course. Now let us go to I'm going to share the screen to my presentation. So we have here, share. So where is that? Oh, PowerPoint, February. Yeah. Let us see the first slide. This is the new moon, 1st February 22. This is the retrograde, still retrograde Mercury. It has started to move forwards on the 5th of February. Luckily, fortunately, but it's I can still feel it because my natal sun is at 24th Libra, and I can still feel this slowness of being intellectually lazy or not really being able to start any kind of intellectual and creative work. I'm trying hard now. Anyway, this is the 12th degree of Aquarius, where the last new moon took place, signaling new starts especially for probably Aquarians. And anyone who has planets, several planets or important planets and points at the 12th degree of Aquarius and the related signs. Of course, harmonious are the 12th degree of Gemini and the 12th degree of Libra, most importantly, and so on and so on. This is not what I'm trying to present now is not a personal prediction of any kind. It's not. It tends to be more a mundane forecast, but it's just nice to see. Maybe again, if you have forgotten this new moon chart, in case you have cast it yourself sooner. Yeah, this is how it looks. It's a pretty Saturnian one because the moon and the sun, of course, apply by a direct conjunction to Saturn. So it is kind of a difficult month ahead, not so much as January, I guess, because one of the reasons I think so is that all the planets are now direct. Just every single one of them. We don't have any retrograde planet on the skies this month, which says simply that we will be able to move on with our projects more fluently, with more force and energy and passion, with less trouble, with less restrictions and so on. And speaking of restrictions, they are being lifted. The COVID restrictions are being lifted all over the world, which is something that we are happy about, of course. As already mentioned in my January forecast, Jupiter in Pisces is now moving direct and gaining in speed, which is great. And this is the Mercury line starting its direct path on the 5th of February. We have full moon on the 16th of February. This is a very important full moon because, as you see here, I have a dual wheel with the full moon of 16th February in the inner circle, and what is there in the outer circle? There is the partial lunar eclipse of the 19th November 21, which took place in exact square to this forthcoming full moon. And what's more, the node of the forthcoming full moon is exactly squaring that eclipse here. It is exactly aligning with north node with the moon and the south node with the sun of the previous lunar eclipse. Although this lunar eclipse was a partial one, it was very strong because it was a long one. And so this is now going to be reactivated. In what ways? Actually, we can already feel this because the nodes have already been in a Scorpio Taurus for a while. And it just reinforcing those energies again. So if you think of what was going on in your life in November of last year, you might just think of that, and you might get some signs or some forebodings or some feelings that in a way that time is coming back. It was not easy on many people, but we'll see what it brings. We'll see in mid-February. On the other hand, November was the time when Omicron started, when it was discovered, and whatever happens with an eclipse ends with an eclipse. But we could also say like whatever happens with an eclipse ends or can end when this eclipse is reactivated. So I hope, and I think it looks like things are changing a lot with Omicron, and it might well happen that in the middle of this month, or let's say around the 16th of February, many more restrictions will be lifted and will be done with Omicron. Okay, not entirely done with it, but we will. The whole world, I think, will come to realize that we have come into the endemic phase of this situation. Okay, sorry. So let us move on. So, okay, this is the full moon locational chart. We can see strong lines in mid to eastern Europe, and East Coast, okay, Washington, DC, and especially to the north of the East Coast, along western part of South America, and you can see a strong lines squaring the full moon ascendant-descendant axis here in Indonesia. So we can expect, I think, more weather-related problems in these parts around the full moon, especially a couple of days before the full moon, and here and all along these lines. This is the same chart, but only Europe. We can see more exactly that this line crosses Austria and part of Czech Republic and Slovenia, my native country where I live, partly Croatia, also France, England. But it's interesting that Austria in particular is experiencing hardships because people who are not vaccinated are paying. It's I try to find a word to pay a fine. To pay a fine. They're paying fines for not being vaccinated. So we are expecting protests and hoping that their government reconsiders the option. I think that in the second half, I think that it will last for a couple of months because I can see their nation, the Austrians, according to the national chart, progressions and transits, it looks like this restriction will soon be over half a year at the most. Okay, so yeah, this is the declination graph for February. And here we can see Mars getting inbounds. And this is Mars on the 23rd,5 degree and getting inbound. So this is especially a sensitive degree. So we can maybe expect. I mean, we have been seeing this. A lot of aggression and I've already forgotten by now, but I know that the first days of February were very difficult, especially around the 4th, the first days around the 4th, or let's say the first days around the 4th of February when Mercury was stationary. Mercury was kind of slowing down life. If you think back to the 4th of February, 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th, nothing worked really. It was that situation when you didn't know whether to turn left or right or go forward or backwards. We were just waiting. The whole world was somehow waiting, and it was not easy. It was not nice. It's getting better slowly, but it is. So today is the 7th of February, and we are coming here slowly to the moon out of bound phase, which starts on the 10th of February. I have noted here the I have marked Venus paralleling Saturn, which is not a very nice influence. And from the 10th of February to the 14th of February, we can expect there's another period of things getting out of control. This can show in weather events, especially because it will be the choleric phase of the moon. For those of you who do not know, the choleric phase of the moon starts with the first quarter. So when the sun and moon, when the moon is rising, when it's starting its a new cycle with the sun. So when it is 90 degrees away from the sun, from 90 to so from the rising square to the opposition, it's called a choleric phase, and it starts about a week before the full moon. So all of this period will be within the choleric phase of the moon, and achieving the highest northern declination on the 12th. We can expect these days to be very dynamic, possibly stressful. Not possibly, but most probably stressful. We can expect important and devastating, I would say, weather events. It's very difficult to say exactly what kind of weather events, but something exaggerated, something like we are used to see in the days before the full moon. So this is this period, and then we have another out of bound moon period towards the end of the month, starting at the 24th, ending at 28th. But this is going to be calmer because the moon will be nearing new moon is, I think, on the 1st of March. On the 22nd and 23rd, we have Mars in parallel of Pluto, which suggests a rise in accidents caused by fire or explosions or something along those lines. Let us move to. Oh yeah, these are transits to the last solar eclipse chart, the solar eclipse that took place at the 12th degree of Sagittarius, but this is the 45 degrees graph. So yeah, this is the Pluto semi-square, Pluto activating the solar eclipse by a semi-square. This is pretty, I mean, it is a bit dangerous. You know, when they had, when we heard all those talks about Russia attacking Ukraine, and that there will be war and stuff like that. These were all talks in the Mercury retrograde period, and we know that we can hear many lies and many untrue statements in such times, at such times. But maybe if there is ever going to be some real danger or some unprecedented event, something that would cross the line of being comfortable, let's say, I think this might happen around this time, in mid-February. So let us go to the next. Oh yeah, and this is the full moon. This is actually the natal, the positions here are the November lunar eclipse, you see, Sun, Scorpio, Moon, Taurus at 27. We will have a sextile of Pluto to this to the Sun. This might bring some improvement. Also, some improvement in health matters. Probably some signs that COVID restrictions would be soon uplifted, which could happen in the middle of the month. I mean, not all, but more and more so. So this is good. This is invigorating, and this is kind of strengthening. And we also have Mars in trine to Venus and Uranus of the eclipse chart. So this all looks very nice. But this is these are the days before the somehow critical, but in other respects critical mid-month. As I already mentioned, that critical things could happen in the sphere of politics or maybe weather. So and here we have okay, this is the eclipse. Yeah, the November lunar eclipse, coupled with the degree of with the partial. This is the partial solar eclipse lines going through South Africa and so on. This I already showed you this in the December and I think maybe January forecast as well. So that's it. That's it. I was not very talkative tonight because it's late, and yeah, and because maybe I didn't have a lot to say, but I will try to keep up with these forecasts because I'm really interested in what's going on, and when I show things to you, I'm kind of forced to think, to maybe discover some new things myself. Well, I hope that you enjoyed this and that you will stay with me. Thank you. Bye-bye.